man, this is embarrassing. With actual box office reporting, the Fantastic Four First Steps came in at $38.7 million in its second weekend, and not the $40 million that Disney said on Sunday. In my previous video, I told you that Disney was spinning their Sunday projection just to keep Fantastic Four in the 40 million range for the box office news cycle. And that's exactly what happened. By the way, in case you don't know me, I'm Brandon Gray, the OG of box office analysis and the creator of Box Office Mojo. And I'm here to correct the record and bring that old school Box Office Mojo swagger here to YouTube. So if you appreciate accuracy and integrity in box office reporting, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Anyway, thank you. Back to the report. So let me show you what happened here. In case you don't know, those weekend box office numbers you see in the news on Sunday mornings, they come from the studios who make projections for Sunday because obviously, the weekend isn't over at that point. So, in other words, they make up numbers for Sunday, but there's typically enough historical data to be accurate with those made-up numbers. Yet, this is also where sometimes the PR game is played, because Sunday is when most of the box office headlines circulate. So, here's what Disney said on Sunday, that F4 would drop only 17% from Saturday to Sunday, getting them that 40 million second weekend. This defied historical precedent, including F4 last weekend, Superman's second weekend, and, more damningly, Deadpool and Wolverine on the same Sunday last year. I know a 1 or 2% difference doesn't seem like a lot, but every little bit kept the weekend claim at 40 million. And the industry is quite sensitive to the perceived difference between a weekend that starts with a 3 and one that starts with a 4. So Disney was optimistic in their projection, to put it kindly, and here was the reality. It was actually down 24% on Sunday, not 17%, and the weekend was 38.7. But since the media rarely updates their reports after Sunday, the 40 million narrative will persist, though perhaps this time the internet won't be as forgetful or forgiving. As sus as Disney may look right now, their sensitivity to the perception of Fantastic Four is understandable. There's a lot at stake here besides whether or not this specific movie is profitable. Even at 40 million, Superman and DC were easily winning the PR war, and the internet was crying that the sky is falling not just for this movie, but for the MCU and comic book movies in general. And that's not a great look when Fantastic Four was intended to help get people pumped up for Avengers Doomsday, which we won't see until Christmas 2026. So officially, the Fantastic Four First Steps fell 58.5% in its second weekend, not 67% like everyone else is falsely reporting. I've explained this many times before, but in case you're new here, let me explain again. They're getting a 67% drop-off by including Thursday preview grosses into the first weekend. F4's true opening weekend was 93.2 million, but add in those previews, and the total was 117.6 million at that point. So they're saying that the 117.6 million total gross was the same as the opening weekend gross, and then using that total gross to calculate the second weekend drop. In this case, they're comparing a 4-day time frame to a 3-day time frame. So of course the drop-off would be exacerbated if you look at it that way. And incorrect on top of that. Because any sane person will tell you that Thursday is not part of the weekend, at least in America. All these other box office reporters are abandoning logic to follow the Hollywood spin machine that wants you to think that weekends include previous weekdays. That the parameters that define a weekend chart should get thrown out the window just to make new releases seem bigger than they actually are. That's not objective. When I ran Box Office Mojo, the priority was the objectivity and the integrity of the charts. So it's a shame that those standards are no longer upheld. But I'm going to do my best here on YouTube to keep it accurate and keep speaking truth to power. If you agree with that position, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm literally the only one that I know of standing up for the truth here. Whether you're rooting for or against the MCU or DCU, Superman or Man of Steel or whatever, let's have truth win out over any agenda. And if you want to discuss this further or have questions, please head down to the comments to continue the conversation, because I have a box office report to get back to. For its actual opening weekend, aka Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Fantastic Four did $93.2 million, which makes its $38.7 million second weekend a 58.5% decline. Again, not 67%. As steep a fall as that was, First Steps actually had the best second weekend hold of any Fantastic Four movie. Now, that's not saying much, considering there have only been 3 other theatrical F4s, and they've all been extremely front-loaded. Fantastic Four 2005 had the previous smallest drop at 59%, but adjusted for ticket price inflation, its second weekend was the equivalent of $40 million, more than First Steps. However, First Steps is in the lead in terms of total gross. And as front-loaded as F4 is, it did not have the MCU's biggest second weekend drop. That ignominious title belongs to The Marvels, which crashed 74%. Hell, Fantastic Four didn't even have the worst Marvel drop of this year. That dishonor belongs to Captain America: Brave New World, which tumbled 63%. And guess what? On Monday, August 5th, Fantastic Four passed Brave New World's lifetime gross of $200.5 million. Here are the top grossing movies of 2025 so far. Also over the weekend, F4 leapfrogged F1 the movie, Thunderbolts, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning to already rank 7th for the year. But Fantastic Four First Steps pales when compared to Superman, although frankly, Superman should be way in the lead because it is a more broadly appealing property than F4. To be clear, above and beyond the word of mouth or Marvel's woes, the main reason F4 crashed in its second weekend is because it is a niche property. So, Superman had the better second weekend hold, down 43%, and its $236 million total at the time was 20% ahead of F4's $197 million at the same point. So, do you think Fantastic Four is a box office disaster, like my YouTube feed seems to think? I guess it depends on how you look at it. If you were expecting a comeback for the MCU, then yes, it's bad. But if you think of this as a Fantastic Four movie first, then First Steps is doing well. And that's a wrap for now. We will keep tracking the Fantastic Four, Superman, and more here at Box Office Revival. So be sure to like this video if you liked it. While you're at it, subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to support objective reporting on the box office. This has been Brandon Gray, creator of Box Office Mojo. Thank you for watching.